Let us know in the chat if you can hear us. I don't think we've gone live since we made a few different changes to our internet. So I'm hoping that we can keep signal. I see that I just went live on my screen over here. So there is a tiny bit of a lag, which does happen. No big deal. Loud and clear. Okay. That's good. Very good. Hello, hello. So the reason that we are going live today is we like to go live about a week after we have our Q&As, because at the end of each Q&A we like to give something away. And this week we are giving away one of our merch hats. Levi's got it on right here, and we have a lot. There's a lot of entries. In order to win, you had to comment what your favorite wild plant was, or like wild foraged thing, because we recently just have kind of started to dabble into foraging, and it's been pretty fun. We really want to find, God, what was it? The one that takes care of poison ivy. Jewelweed. I have to find it. I have to, because I'm already starting to get poison ivy on my arms. It's not going to come up on camera because the camera takes care of redness, but every year my goats get into the poison ivy and I get it all over my arms. I know, I'm sorry, Mandy. This is just what worked out because of Father's Day being this weekend. We've got stuff that we're doing tomorrow, and so hang on, I'm gonna put myself on silent because I can hear myself. No, don't turn off hotspot. That would be bad. Okay, there we go. So what I'm gonna do is just to, honor everybody and their bedtimes and everyone who's watching the replay, I'm gonna go ahead and pick a winner now, and we're gonna stay live for probably an hour if people want to chat, but I'll draw the winner now so no one has to wait. So, do you want to draw?
Sure.
By the way, this is Levi. He's not saying a whole lot, which isn't that abnormal.
Man of many words.
29 people is probably the most I've ever had on anyone live. Probably because I actually let people know. In the past, I've just popped up live and been like, here I am. So, okay, no peeking. It's folded like 6 times. Sharon Evans 9412 likes blueberries and blackberries. YouTube is doing the thing now where they're putting your tag or your @ and it's not the full name, but Sharon Evans, you are the winner. So our email is SageAndStoneHomestead@gmail.com. It is in our about section and in the description of every single video, so it'll be in the description of this video. Go ahead and email me your information. We have a lot of people who watch from like Australia and the UK. If you live in one of those places, Sharon lives over there. That's fine. I have filled out many a customs form, and we will get you your hat regardless. So, oh, GWP, hi! Look, you're a moderator if you didn't know. I made you a moderator. I don't know how to moderate anything. I don't even know what to tell you to do, but yeah, I did that a while ago. Forgot to fill you in. So, good evening, everyone. Speaking of locations, everybody tell me where you are tuning in from. I'm pretty sure all of our friends in the UK are asleep. Australia might be waking up.
I have no idea.
I don't know. I barely know how the time zones work in the US. Michigan. Been in the hayfield all day. It was a rough square bill, or wouldn't not. Something's always got to go wrong. Our neighbor bales hay. He does big round bales. Goodness, every time something goes wrong. It's just par for the course. It's what has to happen. Can't ever go smoothly or something would be wrong. Southern Illinois, California, New Mexico, Houston. Yes, yes. Lots of people. Ooh, I just dropped our winner. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna grab it so I don't lose it. Although I do have the stream to look back on. Sitting on the milking stand, I have done this. I have taken the phone when I have milked in the evenings down with me and listened to things. I love it. Heather, I never win. I'm so faithful. I know you are. So I will, when I have people that don't claim prizes, which does happen, I do go through and kind of handpick subsequent winners. So maybe one day I could send you a comment and say, hey, send me an email. I've got a question for you. That does happen. So let me know if you guys have any questions for us. There hasn't been a ton real new happening here, except for today I made cheese curds for the first time. That actually takes a little bit more work than you'd think, but they're good.
Yeah.
Nice and squeaky like they're supposed to be. I'm going to be bringing them to a Father's Day event that we're going to tomorrow with our Goaty Girls milk. I had 6 gallons in the fridge, and knowing that it was going to be a busy weekend, I had to take care of it. So we still have some cabbages to deal with, but that's going to happen on another day. So we don't have any more deer tallow, Treva. Treva makes it, asks, any update on more deer tallow soap? We're all out of deer tallow because we only rendered tallow from 1 deer last year. And so this year, as long as we get another doe or whatever that has a lot of the fat inside, we'll have more of that, because that's been my favorite soap. I've made a few soaps, but that one is like ultra moisturizing. I want to make some with goat tallow as well. What's been your favorite thing you freeze dried? What do you think?
Not including the candy.
We freeze dried a ton of candy.
The strawberries and the pineapple were really good.
Really good. We just did strawberries, pineapples. We did bananas. I actually have a video coming up middle of next week. That's a freeze dryer video, and I'll show a lot of things that we have freeze dried. And so Levi likes the strawberries, and I mean, it's hard to look past the candy. The candy has been so good. We've gone through a lot of freeze-dried candy because we had a birthday party for our kids this last weekend, so we made a lot of it for their birthday party. But yeah, probably the freeze-dried pineapple has been my favorite thing. Obviously, we didn't grow that, but
basically also candy.
Yeah, I've been really surprised that I freeze-dried some tromboncino squash because I still have some that I harvested November last year, and that actually is super sweet. It almost tastes like a melon when it's freeze-dried, and I feel like we could probably trick the kids into thinking it's a melon.
Maybe.
We need to try and see.
I think Addison would just eat it. The boys would need tricking.
Yeah. Can't wait to see the cheese curds. I didn't do a video on it this time, but I realized that would be a good first like hard cheese making type video, because you don't need a cheese press or anything like that. It only needs like 8 pounds of pressure, which is the weight of a gallon of water or milk or whatever. And so that's really simple, and I think it's a good thing to start with. So that's probably going to be the next like how-to type video. I just don't know when. I need to catch up on videos, or video, super busy. It's been busy here too. I think this counts as our third video for the week, but I tried to do 3 for the longest time, 3 in a week, but it's probably going to be more like 2 in the near future. Garden tour and then something else. A garden tour and then something else. I love your shirt, goats and socks. Thank you. This was given to me by a friend. She saw it at the farm store and just knew that I needed it. I'm sorry if I skip a question. I'm sorry for the loss of your baby goat. I know you vaccinated his sister, the one that died. How's she doing? I didn't vaccinate any of them. We gave her a Baycox, so it's a coccidia treatment. It's an oral dose. It's actually a coccidia stat. So what it does, it just kills the coccidia. It doesn't really interfere with the immune system at all. It kind of like works in place of the immune system, which is something that I don't love. I would really rather them take care of it, because coccidia is something that they can get an immunity to by themselves, and they do get an immunity to by themselves. So you saw in that video, you probably watched it, but I don't know if everybody did, which is fine. But I also treated Feral for coccidia. This is actually the second time in Feral's short life that I've had to treat Feral for coccidia. And I feel like that can be something that happens when you kind of supersede their immune system. so when he was presented with coccidia again after I treated it the first time, his body still hadn't learned what to do with that because the medicine had done the work for him. So I knew the baby had coccidia. I was in the watching phase, and he just went down really fast, super fast, which to me means he probably wasn't strong, and it's okay. It really is okay. And I don't want to lose the girls, but if I had to because they were weak, I guess it would be meant to be. But they're both fine. All of them, all the babies are fine. Have you ever freeze-dried peaches? Not yet. We've been talking about it. The Amish do a big old peach sale whenever it's peach season. You can get, I think it's a bushel for $20. Yeah. And we buy peaches every year. Last year I made like a peach pie filling, but this year we're gonna freeze dry a whole bunch of them. It's gonna be fun. I know it's not good for you, but marshmallows and ice cream are really good freeze dried. I want to do ice cream sandwiches. That's maybe what I should have had to get at the store today, but then we're busy this weekend. But yeah, I really want to try that out. That sounds amazing. What time do you go to bed and get up in the morning?
At bedtime.
Bedtime?
Whatever that is.
I am a night owl, and so it's usually between 10 and 11 that I go to bed. The alarm goes off at 6. I probably don't roll out of bed until 6:30, and I'm not really out in the barn until 7. It takes me a while to like move in that direction. It's probably not enough sleep.
I can't not get up right when the alarm goes off. I have to
Otherwise,
get up and get moving.
Yeah.
Or it's just hard to.
Levi gets a headache. He'll get like an instant headache if he tries to sleep in past the alarm.
Allow myself to sleep in till 6:15 on the weekends.
15 extra minutes. Does that feel good? Can you tell a difference?
No.
No?
No, but
that's funny.
The kids don't get up till 7, and I every morning will get up, get out and make coffee, sit and drink that, and read the Bible. And on the weekends I just don't need as much time before the kids are up because I'm not getting ready to go to work as well. So
yeah, there's a lot more relaxed. I harvested 48 heads of garlic a couple of days ago, and I planted because you inspired me to try to grow it. They were huge. I'm so glad. Congratulations. I have found that garlic is one of the easiest things to grow. I know some people struggle with getting the bigger heads. I can't remember what it is. One of the NPK, I think it's the potassium that's needed for roots. I've got to Google this every time. You can clearly tell this is a live video and I'm not editing. But as long as the soil has enough of that, your bulbs are really big. It's been really fun to grow garlic here because it does so well. What months do you breed your rabbits, and how many litters can they have a year? I've heard up to 6 if you're intensively breeding. We breed, so I stopped in, I think it was probably April is the last time I bred. I gotta look at my calendar, but we don't breed in the hottest months of the summer. So as soon as it starts to get 85 degrees during the day, I will stop until it stops being 85 degrees during the day. So it kind of just depends. Last year, we had a 100-degree heat index in October. So it took us a while to breed last year. I actually had rabbits that were bred then, and they didn't end up having very many babies because they were very hot. I think one of them had 3, one of them had 2. It was like the birth rate was horrible that first bit because we had such a late heat wave. Our pasture and lawn is really still struggling from the heat waves that we had last year and the drought. It's been insane. It really hasn't grown back very well at all. And I've heard that that's happening. I've heard that the drought is causing the grasses in pastures everywhere to not take up the amount of nutrients that they normally would. And so their pastures are also not as nutritious, which, like, the ripple effect is terrible from a year ago. Hi, Nana. Right here, Papa and Nana. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was up and ready to go to the bank at 8 this morning, but they don't open till 9. Darn it, could have slept in. Levi, what do you do work-wise now? Thank you for your service. says Kathy.
For a little over a year, I've been working with my little brother who took my dad's business, which is a home remodeling and repair business local here. And it's just carpentry work and just general remodel work.
This is another question for you. Levi, what's your favorite Bible verse?
I've been thinking about it.
Oh, did you see that
Yeah.
roll by already?
Yeah. I guess for sake of time, since I don't
Pick that one. It's
know,
written out already.
I'd have to really think about it, but for the sake of time, I'll go with the one I've permanently inked on my arm, and that's Joshua 1:9, which
Put you on the spot. What does it say?
Yeah, have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous, do not be afraid nor dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go.
It's good. I can't remember the one that's tattooed on me. Mine's on my back. You guys have probably never seen that one.
Just a couple weeks ago, that was our memory verse with the kids.
Was it?
It's fresh on my mind.
They have written down all the memory verses, and they're like all over the house. It's so cute. Okay, I'm a little lost. The bed was okay. So, Queen of Creepsville, the garlic bed was prepared with guinea pig poop. I tell you, rabbit poop is probably very close to the same.
I was gonna say it's got to be pretty similar.
Yeah, that grows a lot. If I have to clean out the rabbitry badly, and there's a ton in there, so the fall garden's going to be excellent. We'll be doing another video for the Dairy Month collaboration. I am not slotted for another video for the Dairy Month collaboration, but I'll be posting more dairy content this month, absolutely. It's just not part of the collaboration because we do goats all the time. The garden really likes to take over this time of year because it does. There's a lot less going on with the goats, but the goats are still a really big part of what we do here. They're absolutely like the main deal for sure. Going to bed. Good night, Mandy. Thank you for coming on so late. Nana, I just got 5 bunches of onions and 8 big onions and 4 giant garlic and spring lettuce. Nice. All of our lettuces and things bolted really quickly this year, which is interesting because it's been a relatively cool spring, especially compared to last year. But a couple warm days is really all it takes sometimes, and they just bolt. Hi, Stacy. Oh, Michael Smith, who won? I will read it again. I have folded it up extra small.
Sharon Evans.
Yeah, Sharon Evans.
I think.
Yep. Sharon Evans, 9412, likes blueberries and wild blackberries. A lot of people chose blackberries. Dandelions were a really popular choice. Singing nettle was a really popular choice. Good night, Heather. Sorry it was so late. Oh, the chat's moving now. I wanted to wish Levi happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Yes. The sweetest people. I love you for this. Thank you, Dawn. Psalms 91. Everett Eastman's favorite. No, have the kids done that one? That sounds familiar.
I don't know it off the top of my head.
I don't either. When the temps get high, how do you get your milk chilled quickly? I have those cooler packs, those like blue plastic cooler packs, and I'll stick them inside the canister. I've got 3 of them. And so as soon as it falls into the milker, the canister, it starts to chill immediately. That's how. Hi, Rachel. Stopping in to say hi. You're exhausted. Go to bed. She's been processing dairy today and had to wrestle her cream separator. That's rough. Good night. I've been up since 4:30. Good night, Mike. Thank you for tuning in. The Stanley family, just tuning in. My arugula got really bitter fast. I've heard that arugula really doesn't like warm temps. That might be better for the fall. Are you ready for the storms coming? So I listened to Ryan Hall this morning, or this afternoon, whenever he posted, and none of that is coming here, which we're grateful for. But Alabama, East Texas, and I think it was next to Alabama is Mississippi,
Louisiana,
and yeah, all them. It's gonna be rough. coming up, but we need the rain. So we're not getting any severe weather as far as I know. But the rain. But do you know the other day when I told you the storms are really bad? It was bad in south of us, and there was also a tornado in Ohio, which it's like it skipped us. Like it was 50-mile-per-hour winds, but that's kind of par for the course. That just is what it is for us. Thank you for helping me with the separator. I had been so long since using it. You're welcome. I didn't understand the question. She had texted me earlier at first, but the cream separator, I think she's got the same one as me. One of the parts can get stuck. It absolutely can. And so if you can't, and if you don't pull the cream separator all the way apart and clean it all, trust me, it stinks. It's not good. There was a little piece that I had missed, like the first time that I used it. I will never miss that piece again. We are in line for the next round of storm. I'm sorry, Treva. Treva makes it. Stay safe. I don't like storms at all. I've heard that cabbage is great to hydrate it, so maybe you should freeze dry some since you've harvested so much. So recently, one of our friends, her garden did excellent, but the Amish know what does well around here. Like she had really great cauliflowers, and her kale did so well. It was still really sweet a week ago, so she gave me a whole bunch of it. I put the kale in the freeze dryer, and then I went to bed. And the next morning I came out, and that shed smelled like straight up fart. It was horrible. I was like, oh my gosh, what happened in here? And it was the smell of the brassica just, but when it was all done, it wasn't like that anymore. But it was like while it was freeze drying, holy moly. So I imagine, I have not freeze dried the cabbage yet, but I want to. It's probably going to be just as bad. So thank goodness it's outside in the shed. I freeze alcohol in water jugs, just then pour it in a bucket and put my milk pail in it. It gets my milk, my milk gets ice in it before I get into the house. Wow.
What's the ratio, Rochelle, of alcohol to water that you freeze for that?
Does that make it ultra cold?
Alcohol doesn't freeze, so it would basically create a slurry, I think. That would be colder than water.
Colder than ice?
Because water freezes at 32.
Yeah, let us know the ratio water to alcohol in the jug, because that could be something we could adapt. That's very good advice. Yeah, glad you have a storm shelter.
Freeze water bottles with the mixture and then drop them in the pail.
As long as we knew they could stay shut.
Mm-hmm.
I do, where I check, because whenever I take the ice packs out of the milk, I wash them because they're covered in milk. And then when they're dry, I put them back in the fridge. But I inspect them every time because I would hate for one of those to break open in the milk. That would be so gross. Just got a gardening in Kentucky book. If we plant a 10 by 10 for 3 seasons, it says we can harvest 500 to 700 pounds of produce. It would depend on what you grew. Grow some tromboncino squash in there, and yes, I believe you entirely. Those things, I swear to goodness, they grow 5 inches a day. They have really started to take off, and it's amazing. They are much bigger than a lot of things in the lane trellis. So I'll show you guys that on Monday. They're already climbing. It's amazing. I love your channel, Heather. I have learned so much from you and are truly an inspiration. Thank you, Diana. I love the picture you had up of you and one of the baby goats. That is Ricky over at GWP Homestead. Ricky has been a popular thumbnail for today. He's a popular goat. I love him. I just love him to pieces. He's so cute. The first time I dehydrated kale, I really thought my downstairs dog was dying. It didn't smell like death. It was a fart. That's what it was. A big one. It was horrible. I'd love to go to the Amish market. I go to a community garden with a farmer's market, though. That's awesome. We are very blessed to have a lot of things near us. There's the Amish grocery store that we go to all the time that's open year round, and then up the other way is like an Amish produce market that's only open June through September. Like it's just a few months. Yeah. And they always have a ton of stuff there, so we can get a lot of things at a deep discount. Our first, not my first garden, but the second garden in 2020, that garden was a huge flop, and there was not any kind of YouTube at that time. I had YouTube, but I did not keep up with it. I like showed 3-minute clips of the rabbits and chickens. All of those videos are privated now. But that year I purchased boxes and boxes of tomatoes and processed those tomatoes. That was a really big blessing to have. Whenever I try to make salsas too, because usually I don't grow enough onions, sometimes I don't grow enough peppers, I will head down there and pick up the ingredients that I need for things like salsa and supplement what we grow with their stuff. It's nice. When is your book coming out? Everybody wants me to write a book. Like, everybody. Someone's like, write a cookbook, write a children's book, I don't remember. Oh, goodness. You guys would probably be upset with my book. I'm not a good writer, I don't think. Although English was one of my better subjects, but I didn't go to a difficult to pass school. It was like a D-rated school. So it's easy to do well over there. Freeze-dried shredded cucumbers last year. All winter I've been able to make tzatziki. Cool. Very good because we've got a bunch of cucumbers. The kids have already started harvesting their cucumbers. They're so sweet. So they've been coming in like onesie twosies. The cucumbers, I mean, eventually they're just going to be like a ton of cucumbers, but they'll take their one little cucumber and they'll split it 4 ways and each get like 2 bites. They're so cute. Nigeria in the house. Holy cow. Uwali. I probably said that wrong, but I tried. Ricky. Here in Todd County, the Mennonites have a store and a bakery. Talk about good food. Is that one in Dutch country? I think it's in Todd County.
I have no idea.
It's good. But is it a bakery? There's like a deli.
They have the table in the front with all the home baked goods on it.
Yeah. Dutch country is very well known. Hello, Heather. Let's hope we get rain and no areas get severe storms. Yes. Fingers crossed. Absolutely. Oh no. They got rid of the farmer's market that was held downtown in the summer. That's sad. I wonder why they did that. You'd think like that everybody would be still, since COVID, really into stuff like that, but that's sad. Start with a cookbook, says Michael. The thing is I don't have any original ideas. My sister-in-law will tell you I cannot. She will throw things together and it's amazing. It's like Michelin star chef. Me, I can't. I have to follow recipes, so I feel like it would be plagiarism if I made a cookbook. Like, I could throw together recipes that I like to use, but like literally none of it is original. Except, well, I guess I threw that dinner that I posted in the community tab. I threw that together and it was good. It
turned out very good.
But I feel like that, I guess it could work. It would be inspirational probably, but I'd really have to like try to come up with my own recipes. I mean, I guess it takes time to write a book, so. The mint alcohol at the dollar store, it smells better.
50-50 mix.
That's funny. The dollar store sells. That's funny.
I have no idea.
You talking about like rubbing alcohol? Is it rubbing alcohol? Because I was thinking like drink alcohol.
It's probably isopropyl. That would make sense.
We were both on the same page. Like, what vodka do I buy? I was like, the dollar stores, of course they sell that alcohol. That's funny. 2 salsa container gardens too. You're so knowledgeable, Heather. You can write a beginner homestead book for us. Maybe I could. Sometimes once you've been in it a little while, you kind of forget what it's like to be in the very beginning, but it's always a good thing to like never lose sight of that and touch of that, for sure. Gotta meditate on that later. Just keep posting videos. I'm okay with no book if you keep posting. I will. I'll absolutely post videos. This time of year it's busy, but it's kind of easy to do videos because the farm just does its own stuff. I just have to take the camera out there and show you. I don't have to come up with anything. It just does. And so that's kind of nice. Write the way you speak, it will be loved. Maybe I will write it with talk to text. That doesn't do well on my phone, so maybe it will be a tragedy if I did that. There's a couple of them in Todd County. There are. We like to go to Sauter Farm a lot. I think they're in Todd County, up in Elkton, Kentucky. Sauter Farm. We just went, I got my 32-quart cheese pot up there. We were just up there. Did you go to college, and where did you learn so much information on everything?
Life.
Through experience. We did go to college, but I didn't go to college for any of this. I went to college for American Sign Language, and I could if you did it slow, I could probably have a decent conversation with you, but not if you go fast. Did you go to college, Levi?
For a little while.
Mm-hmm. That's where we met. We met in college. We went to college long enough to find each other and then stopped.
That's about it.
That was it. So neither of us have degrees. We just have some college, but that's what we put on those surveys. Some college, but no degrees. Schwabach's Bakery. I don't think I've heard of that one. We could write it down. Look, I have a pen. Because I will lose this live chat when it's all done. Okay. Rubbing alcohol, she says. Please pray for my uterus. Oh, we will. Absolutely. Oh. Write a cookbook called The New Bride's Guide. Give tips for gardeners, washing, taking care of the house, etc. So I bought something like that. Or maybe it was given to me when we first got engaged. Gosh, what is it called?
I don't remember, but...
It's blue. It's cute.
It's around somewhere.
Those exist and they're adorable. That's a good idea. I love the shelf behind you. I have one like it. I won that in a raffle. I paid $5 for it. I was so excited. Someone made that locally. It's pallet wood, I think. I really like it. Thank you. It's kind of scary to have it by the door because I don't want to put something on it that's going to rattle off. Going to bed, good night. So, Gloria, I will pray for your uterus. I don't do prayers in public. I don't. We ate dinner with some of our Amish friends, and they do a silent prayer before dinner, and I love the concept of it. I really do. So, fear not. Prayers will be said, but I just don't pray publicly. Yeah. I didn't know you studied American Sign Language. I studied shorthand, but they stopped teaching it midway and I lost what I learned. Is that writing? I don't think I've heard of that. Where you write, kind of like doctor's handwriting. You know how when you write, it's with as a C with a line over it, like that. That's cool. So yeah, BlackRock, you could set up the camera on the goats doing their goat things and I would watch the heck out of it. Have you seen Simon Says Farms? They do that. They have a live cam in their goat barn. And I think that's so cool. Maybe when we actually have real Wi-Fi, we could do something like that. But it would have to reach the barn, which I don't know. I don't have high hopes. They're supposedly working on real Wi-Fi in our area right now. I don't really want to pick it up because I'm afraid it's going to lose signal, but it probably won't. We have this. It is like a little Netgear hotspot that works really well, kind of. I was online, or I was on the phone with the lady for an hour the other day trying to get it to work faster when the garden tour had some sound missing out of it. I had fixed it and then went to upload it and it told me it was going to take 3.5 hours to upload this 25-minute video, and I was like, no, that's wrong. So I called them and got it fixed. So thankfully it seems like it's working, because a live stream would probably crap out if it wasn't working.
Yeah, I'd imagine it would have been glitchy by now.
Okay. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this. Is that the right one? Just a second, guys. Did it go away? There it went. That was our first troll. Cool. Means we're moving up in life. All right. My grandparents on daddy's side were both deaf mutes and know of some signing working with autistic children too. I taught them sign language. That is so cool. It's such a beautiful language, and I feel like it needs to be more widely known. American Sign Language is gorgeous. It's interesting because there, you wouldn't expect it, but there are almost accents with people who speak sign language. They all have different ways that they do things, and when you're not used to speaking to somebody, it can be really hard to pick up their accent based on, their mannerisms and how they do their things. Very interesting. Aw, a children's book about your baby goat that liked to wander off and have his own. That was Brown Baby. Yeah, we had a baby goat. Oh my gosh, he'd walk out to the pond, which is really, that's a hike for a baby goat. Thankfully, knock on wood, we haven't had any issues with the baby goats in that huge pasture because we've never kept them from it. That pond is really big. There are some like little steep things, but he'd wander out there with the herd and then just lay down and not come home. And I'd go down to the barn at night counting babies, and Brown Baby would be gone. I'd have to come inside and find a flashlight and go get him. He's a wreck. And it was really cold. It was really cold. He was born January, February. No, I didn't have any in January and February, so March. But it was still really cold, poor baby. That's a good book idea, though. I might have a mole in the pumpkin patch. 3 exit holes, the size of a quarter ounce, nothing damaged. Pumpkins are good. 150 degrees is hot. 115. 115 is very hot. A lot of squash don't like the heat. They'll droop their leaves really hard. Somehow the squash that's in the greenhouse isn't doing too badly, but I have a feeling that's not going to last very long. I have been finding squash bugs, and once those start stressing the plants out, the heat really starts getting to them. The live stream of the goats would be amazing, says BlackRock. Anytime I wanted to, I could just go hang out with Calamity. We'd have to make it so they could not get to the camera, because they would wreck it in a heartbeat. The trolls means you're growing. Nana says, yeah, that's the first time I've seen one. Oh well. An old skill for secretaries to the military business. Oh, look, there's Jessie. She's a moderator too. I can't remember who I made moderators. Back in civilization and looked to catch it just in time. I wondered about you. Jessie was doing Jeep things this weekend. Stone soups substitutions. That's my sister-in-law. Does anyone have advice for dealing with squirrels in the garden? Other people have to weigh in on that because we never see squirrels anywhere.
Yeah, our property's much too wide open for the squirrels. We don't have any like woods clusters where they'd be safe in the trees, and
across the street is though. You'd think that like right across the street there's a bunch of trees, but they just don't. Oh yeah, Queen of Creepsville says a cat. That's the suggestion I see most often is getting a cat. The problem is the cat's gonna go gacky in the garden. And so like I had asked the same question to Roots and Refuge Farm on their live stream that they had recently for patrons, and she had said like you just pick your battles. You pick the rodents or you pick a little bit of cat mess in your garden. I choose rodents because I don't want cat mess. There are certain things that you can't eat after, and carnivores, like the carnivore manure, you can use in your compost, but you have to compost it for a whole year. So I don't want to mess with it. Looper infestation. So BlackRock, honestly, if you let the wasps nest, if they're not in your way, the wasps really have been what has taken care of our looper issue here. I see them. I see the little white butterflies, and then there's like 3 wasps that come in behind it and just take out all of the little cabbage loopers. That's what they feed their babies. So being able to keep wasps, even though they are horrible and I hate them, I like them because they do a lot of work in the garden with yucky bugs. Oh no, they get all my walnuts before they can be harvested. That is sad. Well, so our trees aren't very big. We've got some hazelnut trees, and we've got a pear tree and a few other trees. They're not big enough. The only thing that our trees are really dealing with right now is June bugs, which is horrible enough. But I know there's going to be other pests when they get bigger. I have just not graduated to that yet.
GWP and every Eastman went the same.
What happened?
Had the same thought that I did.
Some folks call squirrel the chicken of the tree. Do with that information what you will. I have some recipe books from, what's his name?
Stephen Ranella.
Stephen Ranella, that have squirrel recipes.
I have heard that it is extremely
Who
good.
else said that? I didn't see that. I'm missing.
22 or 410 works good for
Chicken
squirrels.
of the tree. I've heard that too. That's so funny. I guess that would be what he would do. I can't believe we didn't think of that.
Pellet gun, yeah.
Did you say that?
No.
Oh. We've got the high-powered pellet gun now. That would work. How many? 1,000 feet per second? Is that what it
I think
is?
it's 1,200. Yeah.
Okay.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, because if you're going to dispatch rabbits... Now, I don't know this officially, but I think you can use a pellet gun in a place where you can't use a regular rifle, right? Like in city? Technically?
Legally, I don't know.
That's
However,
what I mean.
it is a lot quieter than a 22. So.
Yeah. So if you didn't want to do the hopper popper or something, because that is a hands-on method. A lot of people don't like that. The more high-powered pellet gun is what you would want. I love squirrel. Turtle? Cool. I've heard of turtle soup, never eaten it. Venison fish, been catching white perch this last week. Has anybody tried beaver? When we first moved here, there was this giant beaver in our pond, and Levi shot it, and we were thinking about trying to figure out how to cook it, but it was so like stinky. It was too much.
It smelled like muddy dead fish.
It was so gross. We decided we weren't going to do it. But in that same Stephen Ranella book, I don't think I've noticed beaver. I feel like he would have a recipe.
He's got several books, and we only have
one.
2 of them.
We have 2.
One of them's not a cookbook.
I know. Queen of Creeksville. She knows we have a turtle. I turned off his water. He's over there. I don't know. I'm afraid my phone is going to fall because it's pretty janky, the setup that I have. Darn.
No.
Anyways, I have a turtle. He's little. He's little painted turtle. We've had him since 2020. February of 2020, this turtle, after a rainstorm, was by our shed, which is really far from any water source. I don't know. He was this big, like a little turtle. And our kids rescued him, and we've had him in a little tank ever since. He's a lot bigger now. He's like that. Little painted turtle. It's stinky and greasy, too. I know that the beaver was hard to skin because it was a winter beaver. It was rough, but it was needed because he was mowing down all the trees at the pond.
Yeah, we were about to have nothing over there.
Yeah, there's still some little stubs. You can see where he was. My father made beaver stew when I was young, but I haven't had it since. See? I thought you could probably eat them because even in our book that we have, he's got like coyote recipes and everything, which is really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days. We don't see very many coyotes. My neighbor sees them. She talks about, hey, did you see that coyote in the front yard? They're like, no, I did not.
It's because we're not awake at 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's probably it. She sees them because she's out there, but one of these days I'd like to try that. I'd like to tan a coyote hide too. Yep. But the dogs keep them far away. Did we keep the pelt? No.
No, that's...
I thought maybe it was in the freezer, but...
It was a whole thing. I don't even know what to call it, but...
It was an ordeal.
It was a whole ordeal. And... I had watched a few videos when we found out that it was a beaver, watched a few videos on skinning, so then once we got to that, like skinning for the purpose of protecting and saving the pelt, and struggled through the whole thing, thought it was just lack of experience, and initially I thought the knife was dull, but it wasn't. It was razor sharp. And then I watched another video afterwards, and the guy was talking about, not trapping winter beavers if you can help it, because they put on so much fat and their skin thickens up and they're very difficult to skin. And this was an experienced trapper that said if he can help it, he doesn't skin winter beaver. So
Just a mess. Yeah. But what do we think it was at first? A nutria rat?
there was a
We didn't know what it was. We could just tell that there was a big thing over
there's just a
there.
head sticking out of the water, basically. Yeah.
And so we wanted to take care of whatever it was. There's still, I don't know if they're turtles, but like big, like this, holes down by the pond.
Yeah, no clue what's doing that.
No idea. We have one fox in the neighborhood and several deer I have to block from the garden. They ate all the tops of my bloom. One cantaloupe, it was small. Sad. That's another thing is, like, my sister-in-law in town will have deer eating off her plants in her garden. Like, she's not in town, but it's a lot more populated than it is here, with a lot more traffic, and those deer will just come right up and eat. It's crazy. The deer will not do that here. We don't get the deer even close to the house at all, but the dogs probably help, for sure. Heather, have you ever kept your rabbit fur pelts to make a throw? So a couple years ago I did. I kept quite a few when we had mostly pretty bunnies. Right now we just have we just process the California bunnies. We still have pretty bunnies, but we sell those. And I had tried to do an egg tan, and it went pretty well, except for I think that I fleshed it too close because the hair started falling out. So when we did our goat skins this last year, we used an alum soak, but I didn't stir it like I was supposed to. I didn't weigh down the furs, so some of them did go bad. But I still have one of those goat pelts in the shed. It's just really stiff. I haven't done anything with it. It's a white one. But one of these days, I really want to figure out the fur thing. That's for sure. Good evening, Misty. We had a young deer run down the street out front and looked really confused. Yeah, they're not the brightest. They're not the brightest at all. We've had them. Was it a deer that got stuck its foot? I think you were at work and the kids saw a deer in the pasture, and Mars went after it and it got stuck temporarily.
Yeah,
on the fence. We've had a horse get stuck in our fence. Before we had the big pond pasture, there was a janky electric fence around this property, and it took a while to get it all down. And there was a horse. Someone's 3 horses got out, and it got stuck. So the wire, it got itself out. And the people came and got their horse. But that was scary for a second. It was just electric fence wire. It wasn't like it was barbed wire, but still, horses, they stress out.
And it wasn't.
It wasn't on. No, it wasn't on, but he got tangled up. Oh my gosh, I'm in a very populated area, 25 minutes outside of New York City, and the deer and woodchucks will take everything. I have Premier One solar fencing, game changer. Yeah, we really like our Premier One fence. It is so good. I wish we had many more of them. I want another Energizer, maybe one of these days, because it has not rained a lot. I feel like I need more pastures for my bucks. I didn't talk about it on the channel, but we had some hay that got really moldy, and it was like 28, 25 bales, which we do have more. It's in the pig area.
Oh, I forgot about those, yeah.
And so I was feeding that on rainy days and stuff before it went moldy, and then it went moldy and it was awful. So we have to get more hay tomorrow. Yeah, before we're gonna get rain Monday, Tuesday, whatever. So we gotta get more, because I might have to start throwing hay if we can't get a good amount of rain. So the deer must be smart. They know Levi will shoot them. Ever since we've put Mars in the back pasture too, there really have not been a lot of deer, which is good, because they can pass on and have passed on the meningeal brainworm to our goats, and I don't like that. That was not a fun time.
No, don't want to do that again.
Nope. But having gone through it one time, I'd be able to spot the signs and symptoms way sooner. However, sometimes with the brainworm in the goats, it's just death, period. Because that's where the worm will get lost, is in their brain, just and then lights out. Sometimes, like with Elpis, it was on her shoulder for a long time. And then it kind of went up her neck and was in one of her, I call them dingles. What was it? The waddle. It was in her waddle. And then she couldn't walk. It was like a whole mess. For 6 weeks she was sick, and I didn't know what was wrong with her. We're really glad that we still have her. I put the jankiest fence up around my garden. Something tried to climb over it, probably a raccoon, and tipped it over. Her husband says, maybe having a wobbly fence is a blessing. Unclimbable, right? It's like a two-factor authentication. I know with keeping raccoons out of things, you should have like a lock on it that will take 2 human hands to do. Because if your lock only takes 1 human hand to undo, then a raccoon can figure it out. So maybe if your human fence takes 2 hands to open, or else it's going to fall over. It's the same concept. Elpis is a lucky lady to have you guys. Thank you. Oh man, I feel so bad. The vet said that Elpis is always going to have permanent nerve damage, but thankfully she carried and birthed triplets very well. And the vet said she would. I was still really nervous because I wasn't sure what all was weak on her back end. I mean, I didn't know that the brainworm didn't get into her uterus and mess things up, and her not be able to contract properly or whatever. I was so nervous, but she's good. She's good, and her udder is looking really good for a first freshener. Speaking of dog, woof. Buster! He might start howling in a second. They usually do every night. The ones here live in the sewer like furry.
I don't know what that
I don't know what to I don't want to say it out loud in case it's a bad thing. CHUDS. I have no clue what that is.
I've not heard that one.
We are growing subscribers really fast. That started happening right before the big freeze this last year. The channel really started taking off. Don't know how or why, but I'm grateful for it. And it's been going like about 1,000 per month subscriber count, which is crazy to me. Crazy cuckoo birds, but it's a good thing. When does kidding season start? So we have 2 different kidding seasons. I have a fall kidding and a spring kidding because I like to have fall milk. I never like to be without fresh milk. So we will be having babies in October. Last year it was the end of September, which is also our anniversary. So it was hard for us to like go out on our anniversary date because I was wanting to stay home and babysit goats. So I planned it this year so that they would be kidding after our anniversary. So it'll be October. And I've only got 3 that are going to be delivering this fall. It's going to be Pesky, Mayhem, and Pepper. And that's it. Because I'm trying to move a lot of my Nigerians into a spring breeding so that I can have babies in the fall. But many of my Nigerians actually just delivered this spring. And so I didn't want to just have them deliver and then turn around and breed them so that they could give birth again this fall. So I'm holding many of them over until next year. I just filled out a whole sneak peek breeding and cull plan. So there's a lot of goats. There's a lot of goats down there. So culls have to be made. But it's exciting. Even though it's sad, it's a very exciting thing. That is when I found you. When did you find Destana? Right before the big freeze? That sounds right, because I feel like I've seen you around for that long. Yep. I found you from Fermented February. Been addicted ever since. Oh, that's good. Thank you, Misty. You never know if the collaborations are going to work out well, but it seems like the collaborations that we've been able to be a part of have been really good for the channel. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers is a joke.
See, I've heard this before.
Oh.
cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. I've heard that before somewhere.
Chud is a lot easier to say.
About guarantee you I
So
haven't seen the
a
movie.
chud is not a bad word. But it looked like it for a second. I was
It
not
could have
sure.
been.
I have my first hummingbird nest in a birdhouse, and my dad made and put it there in 2010 before he passed. I'm so excited. That's cool. We have seen them fall out of the trees at the end of the season. These little tiny nests. So cute. I want to see a baby hummingbird because they're already so tiny. I think we've seen the little eggs. So cute. I found you from Fermented February as well. That is cool. I have not spoken to Anna lately. I know that she's been really busy, so I hope that she still remembers us when Fermented February comes around again next year. I'm sure she will. She's a super busy lady. Can't miss a video here. I wait for him to drop. Well, I'm trying to be really consistent with the garden tours in the very least. It's really easy, like I mentioned before, to be consistent with those because the garden just, it does what it does and I just have to show it to you. But my cat is stuck again. Hi, kitty. Meow. She's been getting in the rabbit cage and now she wants help out. Here, come up here. We'll see if she comes up here. You have a bunch of jewelry. So Lisa says, I have a bunch of jewel weed in our yard if y'all need some. Thomas can bring it to work when he starts back to work with Eli. Okay, good. Yay, thanks. Because someone had mentioned putting jewel weed in soap to help with poison ivy. And I was also thinking about making a solid lotion bar with the goat's milk. And to have the jewel weed in it would be super great because then I could just lotion it up and it would stay on and that would be wonderful. So I'll take you up on that. Thank you. I thought she said a breeding and cuddling, not a culling program. It's all the above. It's all the above. And the culls, no, not all of them will be culled to the freezer, especially not the girls, but some of the boys probably will. If not our freezer, somebody else's freezer. We are going to cull Odie. I'm not using him again. So Levi actually wanted to find a taxidermist that could put Odie's, what is it called, a bust?
The cape.
A cape.
Cape mount. The
cape mount of Odie for our farm. Because he's absolutely gorgeous. Problem being he throws multi-teated babies. So we can't keep him for our breeding program because I don't want that coming into especially our mini Lamont. So we have a replacement buck for Odie. I haven't said anything about it, and that's all I'm going to say for now. Super excited, like redonkulously excited. But it'll be a few weeks before that announcement comes. Because I'm addicted to buying bucks. I can't stop. It's so stupid. What does Rachel say? I think she just says, I have a buck problem. Well, so do I. Rabbits and goats. I have a buck problem. But it's easy to have a buck problem because the bucks can do so much for like the whole herd. So they can mean a lot. That's why I like them. Plus I have the 2 different breeds that I am doing things with. I know how it goes. It'll be hard for me though. Well, which one is your favorite? Greatest ever. I know your real name starts with a K. I forget what it is. So sorry. But which goat is your favorite? Maybe we just won't have that conversation if it's one of those. Jessica, I'm still struggling with tomatoes. Even though I'm getting a lot, I feel like I'm watering them too much because they're splitting on the top. But we're so hot in Texas, I'm really not sure about watering. So from what I have heard, what tomatoes really need is consistency. Sometimes it's not necessarily about how much exactly, but if you are consistent with watering them like twice a week really deeply, then that's good. If you are consistent with them watering every day really shallowly, they can be okay. It's just when that gets changed up that they can throw a fit. It's almost like they adapt to whatever it is you're doing with them. We like to water. I water twice a week really deeply. I'll run the sprinklers for 3.5 hours. And the drip irrigation, sometimes I'll run a little bit less because I feel like that is a lot more, I don't know, just it's targeted towards the roots. So I feel like I don't have to run that for as long. But we like to do more infrequent deep watering, and you might find that your tomatoes appreciate that as well. But your soil has to hold up to it, because if it's just gonna evaporate, like if you don't have mulch, that may not work out as well. Yeah, Nana says I'm gonna have to go find some jewelweed. My hands are ate up. It's like you can see me scratching. Ooh, I know we're buffering on this screen. Am I buffering for you guys? Maybe not.
Just past an hour. I don't know if that has anything to do with.
No, because I should be able to shut it off whenever. But I was buffering on my side, but it could be my internet. Yeah. Good. I'm glad it's not buffering for you guys. My one screen started buffering. Heather, would you consider selling some elderberries, like a cutting or seed? Yeah. Come on down. I have so much of it. I actually just gave some to my sister-in-law too. So yeah, I can give you cuttings. I don't know if it's the good time of year. I mean, I imagine it is, because they have plenty of time to root in this area before it gets cold. So it should adapt well. I can't remember when I initially put it in, but it was probably around this time of year. I had bought our first plants from Grower Solution in Tennessee. Yep. I don't want to start a YouTube channel, but I really want to make my own garden tours. I think it would be super fun, thinking that someone besides myself would give a heck. It's really a huge part of it, that people actually care. I think you guys knowing that you're going to be there helps me do like the weeding and the upkeep and whatever that I might not do if I didn't have to show somebody. Like, I wouldn't do as much. I would definitely still do things, but probably not as much. Like that 100-foot lane, I probably would not have planted all that if it wasn't for the channel. But I always tell myself too, in the very least, it's pig food and it'll turn into bacon. So, but it'll be beautiful. I'm so excited for that lane, knock on wood, that we don't have possums come and eating all the things from it. You remembered the K. I did. Yes, I know it. Kara. Yeah. Kara. See, I'm bad with names. At Blackrock, you could still record something and post to your account, make it private, just share the link with friends or whatever. Yeah, you could. You'd be surprised if you just post it and leave it, like what can come. YouTube, it's really just the consistency and the algorithm figuring out who you are and where you belong. That was the hardest part for us, was the algorithm getting us wrong twice. It was so hard. 2 times. And it finally adjusted, and honestly, it was the Fermented February collaboration, the first one that I did, that got the collaboration to get a clue that we're a homesteading channel. It took them a long time to put us in front of the right audience. When our tornado video did really well, they were recommending like our goat birth videos to people who like storm chasing, and like that's not always like, it just didn't work. So that took a while to work out of, but thankfully YouTube has gotten a clue. Is lavender hard for you to grow, Heather? Do they require more sun or partial shade? Mine died off, so I'm planting more. This is my first year getting lavender through winter well, and I had it in the greenhouse for a lot of the winter, except for when it was super cold. I brought it in the house, like that -30, really hard cold. That and the rosemary I brought in the house. I have always killed rosemary over the winter. I cannot get it to overwinter here. I know a lot of people have success with getting rosemary to come back. My thyme came back very well. My oregano came back very well. We have cilantro that reseeded itself as it does. What other herbs do I have? Oh, my mint lemon balm.
Yeah.
That came back really well. Your eyes are getting red. Are you tired?
I'm exhausted.
But yeah, the lavender, I have it in where it gets morning sun and afternoon shade, because the afternoon sun is the harshest. So full sun technically is 6 to 8 hours. And so I would say I would put those 6 to 8 hours on the front end for most plants if you can, and give them afternoon shade if possible. I know that peppers do really well with that. The lavender can have partial shade for sure. Jewelweed flowers are edible. The stems have the needed juice for taking care of the Urushiol poison ivy. Jewelweed can almost always be found adjacent to poison ivy. We have never seen it. We looked at pictures of it. Maybe we just need to look closer, but those orange flowers it has on it, we've never seen that. It's got to exist. I mean, it's over at Lisa. Like, that's not that far from here. I need to look closer. I need to probably look on the other side of our fence where the goats haven't been on our neighbor's property to see. They'll let us over there. Lavender likes really dry conditions and very sandy soil. Mine is in a pot. I don't even know. It's probably got like Miracle Grow soil in it. But that is good to know because I am not an expert on lavender at all. I put lavender in an oil to infuse it. I've got the date on it. I don't remember when it is done. But I want to do salves and things with the lavender. Misty says, I have to say your homestead name is wonderful and I really love your logo. It's super smart for branding purposes. Easy to make stickers, merch, while being an awesome design. Thank you. I worked with someone on Fiverr for our branding. That was pretty early on with our channel that I decided, I remember telling Levi, this weekend I'm working on branding, and that's what I did. The whole weekend I worked with that guy, and he gave us quite a few, what do you call
variations?
Yeah, there's like proofs of different designs, and he listened to me so well because I told him the main things that we do are our goats, our rabbits, and our honeybees, and he put it all together in one like a beautiful thing. I love it. Thank you. I have killed more herbs than I would like to admit. Yeah, I've killed more anything than I'd like to admit. Like I said, that 2020 garden was rough. 2019 went so well. I think it was one of those like beginner gardener like luck things because it went very well. I just threw some seeds in the ground, no mulch, no nothing, and I think we probably had a decent amount of rain then too. You know, I had watermelon, cucumbers. I did have some tomatoes because I had purchased or brought some tomato starts with me. There were some volunteers. It was kind of nice because the lady that had this home before us, she had that garden, and so there was volunteers to be had, which was nice. Doing chores late tonight, found out we have baby Brussels sprouts. See, that is someone who has brassicas from the Amish that are currently doing well in this heat. I need to figure out exactly what varieties they have. They don't know. They're just like, I don't know, it's a Brussels sprout. Whenever you ask them, that's what they say. Like, I don't know, it's a cabbage. Like, but what kind? So, because I know that if I had Brussels sprouts that I had planted from my seed, they would have bolted. So I really need to figure out what the Amish are doing because they're doing it right. They're doing it very right, as they would.
Yeah.
I think Levi is nodding off, you guys. I know we've gone over a little bit on time. We have 30 people in here, though. Do you want to go to bed?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's bedtime.
Let's go to bed. You get to sleep in tomorrow until 6:15. I've started to try to get down to the goat barn early in the morning because it's getting so darn hot that I just don't want to be down there in the middle of the day. And so I've been getting up with him we talked about it earlier where, you know, we get up at 6, but it takes me a while to get down to the barn. But yeah, before I was getting down to the barn, like after breakfast, I would go down to the goats, but I don't like to do that in the summer. That's definitely a wintertime thing. Wait for the whole world to heat back up in order to go outside. So
that's what they told
we bought our brassicas from my uncle's nursery, but that's what he said. I don't know. It's broccoli. I didn't know your uncle had a nursery. Why did I think you got that up at the Sunny something greenhouse up there. Oh. Morning chores come early. Yeah, thanks, Heather and Levi. I'm off to sleep. I think, Jeanette, that we are too. Levi, he gets this very classic bloodshot red eyes like you see in the cartoons. Like, it's happening. He probably isn't coming up on camera. Is there a cheaper milking machine that would be good for 2 to 5 goats? Yeah. Someone had suggested to me the hand top one. Now that one's on Amazon. I think it's made in China, but people do like it because a lot of people had suggested it to me when I was asking for suggestions. So if like made in China is good with you, that seems like a decent, cheaper option for sure. But I have also used a human breast pump before, which you can get those relatively cheap, especially when compared to like, you know, some of the bigger like actual goat milkers and things. And those work pretty well. It just kind of depends on the size of the teats. They work well for Nigerians. I guess I'll say that because I don't think, like I definitely could not use a human breast pump for Elpis. Her teats are just way too long. It's a good problem. Long teats is a good problem. It's just likely we bought them from the Amish greenhouse so you aren't off track. Yeah. My whey caramel. Is that whey cheese? So Alexandra says, I'm glad you were live to keep me company while I finish my whey caramel. I've heard of making cheese, the brown cheese, from whey. But whey caramel, I'm going to have to Google it. We have lots of whey nowadays. The cream separator, Everett, I don't know if there is a cheap cream separator. There probably is if you go on like Amazon. Ours was $300. And I got mine from Caprine Supply. And like mine wasn't the most expensive one out there, but I also didn't need a huge one. I think ours fits 2 gallons in the top. And that's plenty because even if I do 6 gallons in a day while it's spitting out the milk and the cream, I can still be pouring more in the top. And it's like a conveyor belt situation. I guess it is pretty tiring being up this late. Flops over. Finally done with that video. I want a greenhouse so bad, but all the greenhouses they put up for sale around here will blow over in the wind. Where are you at? Dark Lord Minette. Our greenhouse has really held up to the wind. Like, knock on wood. It has surprised the heck out of me, the wind that has handled. The tornado that passed us was 1.5 miles away. Granted, in a tornado, all of the energy is in the tornado. And so there's not like we weren't on the inflow side of the tornado, so there wasn't a bunch of wind sucking past us towards the tornado. But it was 75 mile per hour wind gusts for 12 hours earlier in the year. And it tore apart our barn. Our carport tried to fly away. The kids' swing set did die. It was a whole mess. And that greenhouse just stood there. And our greenhouse is from Grower Solution. So look into them. For sure. Our wind can, yeah. Yep, F1 tornado is, I gotta Google it. This is your phone. My phone is right here. So I think 75 miles an hour is hurricane force, is it not? Tropical storm.
Something like that.
Insane. That was insane. And our neighbors who have lived here their whole lives were like, that is the worst wind I've ever seen. And I was like, good, I'm glad to know that is the worst wind that you've ever seen.
F1, 73 to 112.
Yeah, so our winds were F1 that day, and that greenhouse is still there. And it did not flex, like nothing happened. It was hitting it on the broadside. Our greenhouse goes north to south, and it was getting hit on the broadside with the wind. I had it shut. It was sunny earlier in the day too. There's a whole video on it. It was sunnier earlier in the day too, but I had to keep it shut. I could not have it open or it would not have been there. Like, the frame might have been there.
Yeah, the frame's not going anywhere.
But the plastic would have been gone. Now, there's a greenhouse up the street that got crumpled in one of the storms. It's like from from the narrow side. It like crunched in this way. And I don't know how the heck that happened.
Something probably hit it.
So it does, but like what, a plane? It looks like it from the top. Oh, in the wind, like the wind flung something.
Piece of
You're probably
metal
right.
from a barn or something.
But that greenhouse, they like pulled it back out, but it's still like wavy looking. They haven't put the plastic back on it. 120. See, the greenhouse would probably throw a fit at 120. I think our house would be gone. I'm surprised. We lost a couple shingles, but knock on wood, we haven't had leaky roof. I can't believe you're still alive. I can't either. I think I talked about leaving like 15 minutes ago, but we haven't yet. There's 31 people in here. I definitely say that's a testament to Grower Solution. It is. Grower Solution, when I called them and asked them, I was like, hey, when we have high winds, what do we do? Sides up or sides down? They said sides down, but they told Jess at Roots and Refuge to take the plastic all the way off. That's not happening.
No, there's no way.
It's too much work. And then what the heck do I do with all that plastic that's gonna blow around? Like, it's better to just leave it on, because I can't even like dream about trying to pull that off. It would be a whole day's work to get it off and then back on. So the wind that day was ridiculous. I know. I called Megan, crying. I was like, Megan, where's Reagan? Like, at work. I was like, darn it, my barn is falling apart. It was so bad. I don't like it. We just need 1 year where the weather doesn't do anything crazy.
Probably not likely.
Around here, if it's not wood, glass, or hard plastic, you can kiss it goodbye because of where are you, Dark Lord Minette? Because you may speak to some of the people around you where, you see that they have greenhouses. Right before we bought our greenhouse, I spent a lot of time looking. I didn't talk to anybody, I don't think. But I spent a lot of time looking at other farms to figure out how they oriented their greenhouse. Because I wasn't sure which way would be the smartest, like with the wind or broadside to the wind. Because most of the winds come, in the winter, it's from the north. And in the summer, it's from the south. West is also bad, but it's mostly north and south. So we made it streamlined to the wind. And we also purchased, Grower Solution has a wind bracing kit. It's got these like angled bars that attach on like 5 different uprights to support the end walls in the wind. If we didn't have those, they would have been crumpled by now. We also have the hog panel in there that I think helps hold it up. Otherwise, it would just like slinky on itself. And it's also 2 feet into the ground on each upright. So it's 11 uprights that are 2 feet sunk into the ground. So like a tornado would take it. But so far, the straight line winds have been all right for now. It is still a pretty new greenhouse with pretty new plastic. We've never had to replace the plastic. They usually say about every 4 years. So not next season, but the season after, we should be trying to replace the plastic. Which Levi wants to hire the Amish to put the plastic on it because it was such a butt pain.
It wasn't my favorite.
The problem with greenhouse plastic is you have to have a relatively calm day as far as the wind, but it also needs to be decently like kind of average temps, like 75. So like springtime, that's the temperature, but there's no still air in the springtime. So it's really, you have to find a sweet spot. It's like you last minute, like, okay, right now the wind stopped and the forecast says that it's only going to be 3 miles an hour for the next like 2 hours. We need to go do it right now. It's kind of how it went. Because if you put it on when it's too hot, when the plastic, it'll shrink when it gets cold. It could pop some holes in it. And if you put it on when it's too cold, when it gets warm out, it can be so floppy that it will break holes. So there's like a sweet spot around here. It doesn't matter which direction you put it here. Where are you? Oh, Nevada. Stand in one place and you get the wind from all directions. We have days like that. Nevada, right near. No, Colorado. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Okay, I believe you. We lived in Colorado for 4 years. That was crazy. The wind was crazy. You wouldn't expect it. Totally crazy. We lived right next to the mountains too, but the weather just flew right down the mountain, right at us. 5 wall. Everett Eastman has a 5-wall polycarbonate greenhouse. Yeah, I assume to get the plastic stretched across but not too stretchy, similar to putting on a new Jeep top. It's a lot like that.
Very, very similar.
It's a lot like that, except for the Jeep tops have like a set size and you like stretch it to that size. The greenhouse has a lot of overlap, so you can stretch it to a point and then just click it in where you want. Jeep tops, I think, are less forgiving. We haven't put a Jeep top on in a while, but gosh, my back probably still hurts, and that was a while ago. So I tried to sign off 20 minutes ago. I think we're actually going to do it.
It's probably time to go to bed for real.
Because Levi's really tired. And I can't think if there's anything I'm supposed to do before bed, but there probably is. So you guys have a really great weekend. I'm going to be filming a garden tour on Sunday to post on Monday. If we don't get rained out again, we might get rained out again, so it could be like a Tuesday thing. But stay in the community tab. I will post updates in the community tab. Was it Sherry Evans?
Nope.
Darn it. What's her name?
Sharon
Evans won our hat. So Sharon, if you have made it in here, you did win. Send me an email. She's probably going to watch the replay, which would be awesome. Well, probably not the whole replay. I wouldn't blame anybody for not watching an hour and 20-minute live replay. That would be a lot. But Sharon is our winner. I'll see you guys Monday or Tuesday. I'll keep you posted. And have a great weekend. Happy Father's Day to all of our fathers out there. I don't remember how to close a live. Hold on. I don't know if I hit the X button. Yep, that's it.